Have you ever wondered why the quietest people on social media often turn out to be the most formidable individuals you will ever encounter in real life? There is something profoundly unsettling about those who choose to remain invisible in our hyper-connected world, something that the ancient Japanese philosopher Minamoto understood centuries before the first social network was ever conceived. In a world where silence has become suspicious and privacy is seen as having something to hide, these digital ghosts move through our society with a power that most of us fail to recognize until it is far too late. They are watching, learning, and building while the rest of us are busy performing for an audience that will forget us the moment we stop posting. What Yoshitsune discovered in his profound meditations on the nature of power and presence was that true strength always operates from the shadows, that the most dangerous individuals are those who have mastered the art of invisibility, while everyone else fights for fleeting moments of attention. These people who never post, never share, never reveal their thoughts to the digital masses. They are not antisocial hermits or technological dinosaurs as we might assume. They are strategists, philosophers, and builders who understand something fundamental about human nature that the rest of us have forgotten in our desperate quest for likes and validation. They know that in a world where everyone is shouting, the person who listens holds all the cards. They understand that while we are all busy broadcasting our weaknesses, our insecurities, and our daily struggles to anyone willing to pay attention, they are quietly observing, learning from our mistakes, and positioning themselves to capitalize on our collective distraction. Before we go deeper into this unsettling truth, I need you to understand that what I am about to share with you will fundamentally change how you view the people around you, and perhaps more importantly, how you view yourself in this digital age. If this resonates with you, if you have ever felt that nagging suspicion that something is deeply wrong with our obsession with social media, then hit that like button now and subscribe to this channel because we are about to explore insights that most people will never hear. Wisdom that could transform your understanding of power, influence, and what it truly means to be dangerous in the modern world. Tell me in the comments which aspect of digital invisibility intrigues you most. The psychological advantage it provides, the strategic benefits of staying hidden, or the way it allows someone to truly understand others without revealing themselves. Your answer will help me create content that speaks directly to what you need to hear most. The story of Marcus begins like so many others in our digital age. A brilliant software engineer working for a major technology company, surrounded by colleagues who documented every coffee break, every small victory, every moment of frustration on their various social media platforms. Marcus watched as his co-workers shared their code snippets on GitHub, posted about their latest projects on LinkedIn, celebrated their promotions on Facebook, and complained about workplace stress on Twitter. He saw them building their personal brands, networking furiously, and constantly seeking validation from their online communities. But Marcus never posted anything. His social media accounts existed but remained empty. His LinkedIn profile contained only the bare minimum required by his company, and his digital footprint was so light that he might as well have been invisible. His colleagues initially tried to include him in their online conversations, tagging him in photos from company events, inviting him to join their professional groups. But Marcus politely declined or simply ignored these digital overtures. Over time, they stopped trying, dismissing him as antisocial or simply not interested in advancing his career. What they failed to understand was that Marcus was not antisocial at all. He was studying them. While they were busy performing their professional personas online, Marcus was quietly observing their patterns, their strengths, their weaknesses, their relationships, their ambitions, and most importantly, their blind spots. He knew who was struggling with which programming languages because they posted questions on Stack Overflow. He knew who was unhappy in their current role because they subtly signaled it in their LinkedIn activity. He knew who was having relationship problems because they shared too much on Facebook. He knew who was financially stressed because they posted about it indirectly on various platforms. This knowledge, gathered without anyone realizing they were being studied, gave Marcus an extraordinary advantage. When layoffs came to the company, Marcus was one of the few who saw it coming, because he had been monitoring the digital behavior patterns of executives and managers. He quietly began networking in the real world, having coffee with key people, building relationships that existed entirely offline. When the cuts were announced, Marcus had already secured a better position at a competing company. His colleagues, who had spent years building their online presence and relying on digital networking, found themselves scrambling to compete for the remaining positions. While they had been busy accumulating followers and creating content, Marcus had been accumulating real knowledge about real people, and building genuine relationships based on mutual benefit rather than digital performance. The layoffs that devastated his former team became the catalyst for his greatest career advancement, precisely because he had remained invisible while everyone else had made themselves transparent. Minamoto Yoshitsune wrote extensively about what he called the principle of strategic invisibility, the idea that true power comes not from being seen but from seeing clearly. He understood that in any social system, those who remain hidden while others expose themselves gain an insurmountable advantage. This principle applies perfectly to our modern social media landscape, but it extends far beyond simple information gathering. Yoshitsune recognized that visibility creates vulnerability, that the moment you allow others to see your true thoughts, emotions, and motivations, you give them the tools they need to predict, influence, and ultimately control your behavior. While everyone else is busy curating their online image, revealing their thoughts, emotions, strategies, and vulnerabilities to anyone who cares to look, the digitally invisible are gathering intelligence that would make intelligence agencies envious. They know your political views from your posts and shares. They understand your personality from the content you engage with. They can predict your behavior based on your online patterns. They know your financial situation from the things you buy and post about. They understand your relationship dynamics from what you choose to share and what you conspicuously avoid mentioning. They can identify your insecurities from the way you present yourself online. They recognize your ambitions from the content you create and consume. They understand your fears from what you argue about online. They know your weaknesses from what triggers emotional responses in your posts. Most importantly, they can see the gap between who you pretend to be online and who you actually are. And that gap is where they find their leverage. Think about this for a moment, and really let it sink in. Every time you post something on social media, you are giving away information that someone could use to understand you, influence you, or potentially manipulate you. You are revealing your decision-making processes, your emotional triggers, your values, your fears, and your desires. You are essentially providing a psychological profile of yourself that anyone can access and analyze. You are creating a detailed map of your mental landscape that someone with strategic intelligence can use to navigate your thoughts and emotions more effectively than you can navigate them yourself. Now consider the person who never posts, who never shares, who never reveals anything about themselves online. They have access to all of your information while giving you none of theirs. In any negotiation, relationship, or competitive situation, who do you think has the advantage? The person whose thoughts, feelings, and strategies are an open book, or the person who remains a complete mystery while knowing everything about you? This is not about being paranoid or distrustful. This is about understanding the fundamental dynamics of power and information in the digital age. Yoshitsune taught that knowledge without revelation is the ultimate weapon, and social media has created a world where most people voluntarily disarm themselves every single day. They share their struggles, making themselves appear weak to potential competitors. They reveal their strategies, allowing others to anticipate and counter their moves. They expose their emotional states, making themselves vulnerable to manipulation. They broadcast their relationships, creating opportunities for others to interfere or exploit these connections. They document their failures and setbacks, providing ammunition for anyone who might want to undermine their confidence or credibility. Meanwhile, the digitally invisible remain protected behind a veil of mystery, free to act without anyone being able to predict their behavior or understand their motivations. But the danger of these invisible individuals extends far beyond simple information advantage. Because they remain hidden while everyone else exposes themselves, they develop a fundamentally different relationship with reality and human nature. While social media users become increasingly dependent on external validation and digital feedback loops, the invisible ones maintain their internal compass and autonomous decision-making abilities. They are not influenced by the opinions of strangers, not swayed by viral trends, not manipulated by algorithmic content designed to trigger emotional responses. This psychological independence makes them incredibly dangerous in situations where others are easily influenced or controlled. They can make decisions based on logic and long-term strategy rather than emotional impulses and social pressure. They can maintain consistent principles and values regardless of what is currently popular or trending. They can build relationships based on genuine connection, rather than mutual validation seeking. They can pursue goals that align with their authentic interests, rather than what generates the most likes or comments. In personal relationships, while one person is sharing every detail of their life online and becoming psychologically dependent on social media validation, their invisible partner remains emotionally independent and strategically positioned. They understand their partner's true personality, insecurities, and motivations not from social media performance, but from direct observation and genuine conversation. This creates an imbalance where one person is completely transparent while the other remains strategically opaque, leading to relationship dynamics where the invisible person holds significantly more power and influence. In professional settings, while colleagues are distracted by maintaining their online presence and competing for digital attention, the invisible individual is focused entirely on real-world results and relationship building. They understand the professional landscape not through LinkedIn posts and industry hashtags, but through direct observation of actual behavior, performance, and decision-making patterns. They can identify rising stars and declining performers long before these changes become visible to people who are too busy managing their online image to pay attention to reality. In business negotiations, while one party has revealed their personality, motivations, and pressure points through years of social media activity, the invisible party enters the negotiation as a complete unknown with comprehensive knowledge of their opponent. They know what the other person values, what they fear, what triggers their emotional responses, and what tactics are most likely to influence their decisions, while remaining completely unpredictable themselves. Let me pause here and address something directly because I know some of you are feeling uncomfortable with what I am sharing. You might be thinking that this sounds manipulative or unethical, that I am encouraging deceptive behavior or promoting antisocial tendencies. But consider this perspective from Yatoshin's teachings on moral clarity. Is it unethical to remain private while others choose to be public? Is it manipulative to pay attention to information that people willingly broadcast to the world? Is it wrong to maintain your psychological independence while others voluntarily become dependent on digital validation? The invisible individuals are not deceiving anyone. They are simply choosing not to participate in a system that they recognize as fundamentally harmful to their own interests and psychological well-being. They are not stealing information. They are observing what others freely provide. They are not manipulating anyone. They are simply refusing to manipulate themselves through constant self-performance and validation-seeking behavior. If their advantage seems unfair, perhaps we should question why we have created a culture where privacy is suspicious and constant self-revelation is expected. The real danger these individuals represent is not to society as a whole, but to the systems and structures that depend on everyone being visible, trackable, and influenceable. They represent a fundamental threat to the social media industrial complex that profits from our collective oversharing. They demonstrate that it is possible to live successfully and meaningfully without constant digital validation. They prove that privacy and mystery are not character flaws, but strategic advantages. They show that true power comes not from having the most followers, but from understanding human nature and maintaining personal agency in an increasingly manipulated world. They challenge the narrative that social connection requires social media, that professional success requires online presence, that personal fulfillment requires public validation. The invisible individuals understand that social media is not really about connection or communication. It is about data collection and behavior modification. Every platform is designed to extract information from users and influence their thoughts, emotions, and behaviors in ways that benefit the platform and its advertisers. By remaining invisible, these individuals opt out of this system of surveillance and manipulation while still being able to benefit from the information that others voluntarily provide. They understand that in the attention economy, the person who refuses to sell their attention maintains the greatest purchasing power. They recognize that in the influence economy, the person who cannot be influenced wields the most influence over others. They know that in the information economy, the person who shares the least while observing the most holds the most valuable position. In your personal life, applying Yatoshin's principle of strategic invisibility means carefully controlling what you reveal about yourself while paying close attention to what others reveal about themselves. This does not mean being deceptive or dishonest. It means being selective and intentional about your self-disclosure. In romantic relationships, instead of posting every detail of your relationship online, you maintain the privacy and intimacy that makes relationships strong, while observing what potential partners reveal about their values, emotional stability, and relationship history through their digital behavior. You can understand whether someone is genuinely looking for a serious relationship or just seeking validation, whether they handle conflict maturely or dramatically, whether they respect boundaries or constantly seek attention, all by observing their social media behavior without revealing your own relationship patterns and vulnerabilities. In your career, instead of constantly broadcasting your professional struggles and strategies, you focus on building real relationships and delivering results while using social media as a research tool to understand industry trends, company cultures, and the professional reputations of colleagues and competitors. You can identify which companies are actually growing versus which ones are just good at marketing, which professionals are genuinely skilled versus which ones are just good at self-promotion, which opportunities are worth pursuing versus which ones are just hype, all while maintaining your own strategic flexibility and avoiding the career limitations that come with public positioning. In your financial life, instead of posting about your purchases, travels, or lifestyle choices that reveal your economic situation, you maintain privacy about your resources while observing the spending patterns and financial stress signals that others broadcast, helping you identify opportunities and avoid financial predators. You can recognize when someone is living beyond their means, when a business partner is facing financial difficulties, when investment opportunities are genuine versus when they are targeting people who reveal their financial status online, all while protecting yourself from those who would exploit knowledge of your financial situation. This strategic approach to digital presence requires discipline and long-term thinking, qualities that Yoshitsune identified as essential for anyone who wants to maintain genuine power and autonomy in any social system. It means resisting the immediate gratification of social media validation in favor of the long-term advantages of privacy and observation. It means accepting that you will be misunderstood by people who cannot imagine living without constant digital performance, but understanding that their misunderstanding is part of your protection. Most importantly, it means developing the psychological strength to derive your sense of self-worth from internal sources rather than external validation, something that becomes increasingly rare and valuable in our hyper-connected world. But perhaps the most dangerous aspect of these digitally invisible individuals is their patience. While everyone else is caught up in the immediate gratification cycles of social media, constantly seeking the next like, comment, or share, the invisible ones are playing a much longer game. They understand that real power accumulates slowly and quietly over time. They are willing to wait months or years to see the fruits of their strategic patience, while others exhaust themselves competing for momentary attention. This patience allows them to see opportunities that others miss, to build relationships that others cannot maintain, and to achieve goals that others abandon when they do not receive immediate validation. They understand that the most important victories are often invisible to everyone, except the person who achieves them. They know that true success is measured not by public recognition, but by personal freedom, autonomy, and the ability to live according to their own values, rather than the expectations of an online audience. When you encounter someone who has no social media presence, who never posts photos, who does not share their opinions online, who maintains genuine privacy in an age of voluntary surveillance, you are likely encountering someone who has made a conscious choice to prioritize long-term strategic advantage over short-term social validation. This person has accepted being misunderstood and underestimated in exchange for maintaining their psychological independence and strategic position. They have chosen to be powerful rather than popular, influential rather than famous, autonomous rather than connected to systems designed to control and manipulate them. Recognize that such a person is operating from a fundamentally different paradigm than most people in our society. They are not antisocial, they are selectively social. They are not hiding something shameful, they are protecting something valuable. They are not afraid of technology. They understand technology better than most, and have made an informed decision about how to engage with it. They are not missing out on opportunities. They are creating opportunities that others cannot see or access. They are not disconnected from reality. They are more connected to reality than people who mistake digital interactions for genuine human connection. The question you need to ask yourself is not whether these people are dangerous, but whether you have unknowingly made yourself vulnerable by living your life in public, while they have chosen to live theirs in private. Have you given away so much information about yourself that someone could predict your behavior, influence your decisions, or manipulate your emotions? Have you become so dependent on external validation that you have lost touch with your own internal compass? Have you confused digital connection with real relationship, online influence with genuine power, public visibility with personal success? Have you sacrificed your privacy, your autonomy, and your strategic position for the temporary pleasure of social media validation? If you are ready to reclaim your privacy, your autonomy, and your strategic position in an increasingly manipulated world, then you need to understand that the path forward requires courage, discipline, and a willingness to be misunderstood by people who have never questioned the systems they participate in. You need to be willing to derive your sense of worth from your own achievements and relationships, rather than from the approval of strangers online. You need to develop the patience to build real influence and genuine power, rather than chasing the immediate gratification of digital validation. Most importantly, you need to understand that true connection, authentic influence, and lasting success have always been built in the real world through face-to-face relationships, genuine character development, and meaningful contribution to the lives of others. Subscribe to this channel if you are ready to learn how to navigate the modern world with the wisdom of ancient philosophers like Minamoto Yoshitsune, who understood that true power comes from strategic thinking, emotional independence, and the courage to live according to your own values, rather than the expectations of others. Hit the notification bell so you never miss insights that could transform your understanding of influence, success, and what it really means to be powerful in a world that mistakes noise for significance and visibility for value. Share in the comments below how you plan to apply these principles of strategic invisibility in your own life. Whether you will start by reducing your social media presence, focusing more on real-world relationships, or simply becoming more intentional about what you choose to reveal about yourself online.